welcome to this week's episode of the Culture Report. We have so many cool stories to get into today, especially 9 News reporter Jeremy Hahola is going to be joining us. He has a really interesting story about some people learning something new about their lineage,
Family secrets.
some family secrets, so you're definitely going to want to stick around for that. But first, we know it's been 1 year since a shooter entered Club Q, which is an LGBTQ nightclub in Colorado Springs, and 5 innocent lives were lost. So on November 19th, the shooter entered the club with an AR-15 style rifle and immediately started firing at employees and club goers. 5 people were killed and 17 were hurt. U.S. Army veteran Rich Fierro is credited for stopping the shooter and charging across the room and tackling the suspect. 2 other patrons also helped restrain the shooter until the police arrived. And Laura and I, we were both here that morning whenever I was here. It was like, I think the news started coming in like around 2 or 3, maybe 3 in the morning. And I was here. It was me and one of my co-producers, Madison, and she was kind of still new at this point, so I didn't know what was going on. We didn't know how big it was. We didn't know if people died. We just heard that shots were fired. And then Jordan Chavez, who was like anchoring the weekend, he was like, "Hey, my friend who owns a club here in Denver just called me and was like, hey, there's shooting." Like, he's like, "I think it's a mass shooting. I don't know." But Jordan just hopped up out of bed and came straight to the station like hours before he was supposed to be here. And yeah, like the news just slowly started coming in. We had like CNN calling, NBC calling. I didn't even have like I I didn't have time to like even feel like or realize what was going on. It was just like we just got to get the news out. Um,
It's scary, Jamal. Like when I was here too, and if many people don't know, I actually cover a lot of the Spanish coverage here at the
mhm,
station. And obviously, I got a Spanish version uploaded, but it's sad at how shocking it was. It was
mhm.
very shocking, but sadly not a surprise in a
Yeah.
sense because we had been seeing so much legislation going through against the LGBTQ community, all the rhetoric, some politicians, saying things about that community as well. And so you got to see hate like translate into violence and in
Mhm.
these communities. And I just think like how traumatizing it is when it's supposed to be some safe space for people to go to. It's
Mhm.
the one place where you're supposed to go let loose and see this happening so close to home.
Yeah. A lot of people were calling me then, like I had family, friends, like just checking on me. They didn't know if I was there. They didn't know like what was going on and just or just checking my mental health in general, just to see like, okay, like we know you stay in these streets, which I do, and I still do to this day. And they're just asking like if it changed anything, like if I'd be staying home or like what, which for a second I did, but they were asking if I was sad, depressed. I was like, no, I'm not depressed. I was more so angry. Like I know we all go through so much that like life is really hard. So we all go through all kinds of things. It just infuriates me that you have to bring all these other innocent lives into it. Like it gets to a point where it's like you don't know what to do. You don't know what to say. You don't know if it's like, oh, well, arm the clubs with more security or just stop going out. Like completely. I have friends that just won't go out at all. I still go out because I don't like giving people that power, like just because you hate me or this or you hate what I do, you hate who I love, you hate my lifestyle. I don't want that to make me not want to live life,
Yeah,
you know?
but are you more like wary now when you're out? Like even when
Yeah,
it's not, for example, like a gay club, like you're going to, a straight club, are you a little more
yeah.
guarded now?
Yeah, like it's anywhere you go. Like I love concerts. I love going to movies. Like anywhere I go. I was at a mall one time and there was like a shooting scare because like in the food court, like people were getting injured, people were getting trampled, trying to get to safety, and it turned out just to be somebody playing a joke. But like people were sobbing in the back of the store, just like, hey, like they're like, I literally told my boyfriend I didn't want to come out today because I was scared something like this would happen, and she's like, I knew this was gonna happen, and it's making people so scared just to, like exist. So I don't let it stop me from doing things, but I am very wary. I look at all the exits, I look at everything that's going on, but when it's targeted by hate, like towards a specific community, it's very disheartening.
It is, and all you want to do is exist authentically, like just be you,
Yeah.
and that harm, being done to people because you have some hate that I truly don't understand where it comes from when, if you're hearing it at home, if you're hearing it from rhetoric of, people, whether it be politicians or whether it be groups showing up to Pride, and, wherever you stand, I still think you have a right to exist as you are.
Yes.
And,
And
you don't have to agree. You don't.
you don't. And like people always say, like, don't push your agenda on me. We don't want to see this. Don't, like, keep it over there. So we are over there. We're in our own safe places. We're at LGBTQ plus bars, minding our own business. You come into our establishment and like you come into our safe space and like project all of your hate and all that vitriol onto us. And it's like, what do we do? Like, we're listening to you and we're minding our own business in our corner. Like, where can we feel safe? So just to be able to, just existing, like, you're like, okay, I can't walk the streets and be safe, can't go to school without getting bullied, can't go into the workplace without being harassed or like passed over for a job. Now I'm trying to just hang out with my friends in a place that should be safe and I can't even do that. So yeah, it just really, it's hard to swallow. For sure.
Well, I love that you're still living and, not letting that
Thank
get to
you,
Jamal. And,
me too.
with regards to the shooter and the way we cover that, I think as a media outlet, it's a lot of responsibility the way we cover it ethically as well.
Yes. So we are very careful and selective the way we do things. Like, I know there were a lot of people commenting like, oh, well, we shouldn't talk about the shooter at all. We shouldn't talk about them. We shouldn't glorify them or give them that notoriety, which is correct. So that's why, just to have a little peek behind the curtain, we like to only like say their name once or like make sure that we mention the victims and their families and like those are the people that were impacted, because I know mass shootings happen and like they say that many people are after like notoriety or they want their name to be known. They want to be infamous. So we want to kind of take that power away from them. But, we still have to tell the news. We have to say what happened.
Exactly. And we want to stop like the copycats too, from
Yes.
seeing that. And I think glorifying them in any way, and not necessarily that you're doing that, but I think it happens when you're like mentioning their name or you're calling them even like a monster, like you're giving them that power. It's just like you said. So focusing more on honoring those victims, I think is a good way to go.
For sure. But just to give you guys an update on the shooter and what's going on right now, the shooter, Anderson Lee Aldrich, pleaded guilty to 5 counts of murder and 46 counts of attempted murder. Aldrich also pleaded no contest to 2 counts of bias-motivated crimes, one a felony and the other a misdemeanor, and is now serving 5 life sentences. So the lives of Daniel Davis Aston, Kelly Loving, Derek Rump, Ashley Paul, and Raymond Green Vance all mattered. Right now, all I can do is hope that one day safe spaces will remain safe and that violence fueled by misguided hate and bigotry will stop claiming so many innocent lives. So as for Club Q, they're remembering and honoring the past while looking to the future. That means a new location and new memories. The club will be staffed by survivors of the shooting and who are just striving to continue being a safe space for queer people. And there will be a permanent memorial at the original location and in the new building that will include a tribute to the victims and the survivors.
Love that. Protests have erupted in Mexico after the violent death of a leading LGBTQ plus figure. Jesus Ociel Baena was Mexico's first openly non-binary magistrate. They were found dead next to their partner in their home on Monday. Authorities have provided minimal details about the slaying, and local prosecutors hinted it may have been a murder-suicide. But LGBTQ plus advocates in the country are skeptical, pointing to reported death threats Baena has received because of their gender identity. Advocates also say there is a pattern of authorities coming to conclusions too quickly in cases involving the LGBTQ plus community. A dark part of Colorado history is coming to the surface. A team of historians is documenting the long-forgotten names of Native American slaves, and today their descendants are learning about the unexpected truth for the first time. Jeremy Jojola sat down with some of them.
Juliana is among a growing group of people experiencing a profound shift in personal identity with the unexpected truth. People who now know they descend from Native Americans held as slaves.
My dad said we were Mexicans, Mexican Americans. My aunt said, oh no, we're Hispanic, we're Spanish.
We're telling these stories because I think it not only troubles our sense of identity, but it also reveals the resilience and the complexity of how we think about identity.
Thanks to a $1.5 million grant, Dr. Esteban Rael Galvez built a team of historians. They are uncovering thousands of stories of indigenous slaves whose names were intentionally forgotten over generations.
There's been stigma in terms of what it means to be a descendant of an enslaved person. That's certainly true.
The project is called Native Bound Unbound. A searchable public catalog is the goal.
I mean, this village of San Luis had hundreds.
All right, so we have Jeremy Hahola here right now making his Culture Report debut.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So hearing this, like when I watched the story, I was just like, I had so many questions. But first,
Yeah.
I just wanted to know, do you know the inspiration behind like all of this? Like, was this their goal when they were going through the research, or did they just stumble upon this?
So the slavery of native peoples in New Mexico has gone on for a long, long time, but it wasn't really taught in schools, right? The professor that we interviewed, the historian that we interviewed, has been studying it for 20 years. And so finally he got a grant within the past couple of years to actually create this website. So this is a passion project for him, Dr. Esteban Rael Galvez. And so he's been wanting to really get documentation out there. That way you have a tangible reference to what really happened in this region years ago.
What are some of the documents that they're looking at?
Yeah.
with this-
So they're looking at, the Spanish kept remarkable, tedious records for centuries, right? They're looking at baptismal records, marriage records, and also census records. So there's a lot of documents that they're looking at. Photographs, they're looking at everything. Yeah.
My goodness. And, when I was looking through the full story, because you can catch that on 9 News if you want to see the full package. But, Jeremy, they have like, I guess the goal is going to be a website, correct?
Yeah.
Like something like enslaved.org, but this would be for Native American slaves.
Yeah, so the goal is to document the names and stories of people who were enslaved as native peoples that in the Western Hemisphere. And they're predominantly looking at the Americas, North America, where it was very, very predominant. And so they're going to have that website up possibly by the end of 2024, they hope. But it's going to be a website where people can search through, try to find maybe some of their ancestors, try to find records and documents. So that way you can have something that's there. Yeah. That gives them acknowledgement, because these people back in the day were seen as less than human, and their names were intentionally forgotten over the years. They were not seen as people of value. When it came to society's ways of working back then. So it's going to be a good project. It's a really fascinating project.
And when people like are learning about this, is like a bombshell. It's basically who am I? Like, what's going on? Like, what do I like? Who? You know? So like when they find out this news, do you know if they have something set up, like maybe some kind of community organization or a tribe specifically, or anyone there to like help walk them through and like, hey, this is maybe welcome them?
It's a really good question that you're bringing up. There's been a movement over the past few years, especially in New Mexico, where a lot of people are coming together as communities, and they're trying to work together to acknowledge their lost heritage, their lost native heritage because of slavery. When slavery happened, a lot of these folks were detribalized. They were removed from their families. A lot of the people who were enslaved were Navajo. And so a lot of those folks were growing up, as you saw in our story there, they didn't realize that they had any Native American roots. They grew up in Hispanicized homes, Anglicized homes, and so they're going back together, and now there's groups that actually meet together, and they do like Native American dances. So there's people actually trying to get together and work as a community to go back and acknowledge who their ancestors were, and they're trying to reclaim that.
Yeah, we were talking about ancestry, and we've never done it before, but like you don't know what you're going to uncover.
You never do.
Know. And a friend of mine did it, and for a school project, her daughter did, and found out that she had like this sister out there.
Yeah.
So obviously that caused a lot of family problems, divorces, and so not, but whatnot. But yeah, so it's very intriguing. Like now it makes me want to find out more, but then I'm also like, do I want to find out more?
Yeah, and what this is doing is, as they're uncovering the names of these, people who were enslaved, descendants are finding out, and it's causing some really uncomfortable conversations within families, because over the years, especially in northern New Mexico and southern Colorado, among certain populations, there's been this effort to really embrace your European heritage, and there's a number of reasons for that. That could be a whole other show.
Yep.
To embrace your European heritage, to say you're Spanish, to embrace more of your whiteness, right? But what's happening as this history comes forward, families are having to like re-acknowledge or acknowledge that, like, hey, we're not like pure Spanish like what we were told growing up. We have some indigenous blood in our roots.
Yeah. I loved hearing her. She's like,
Yeah.
I thought I was Mexican.
Yeah,
I was
and this is a very, very common story that's happening right now. Very common.
So it could be one of y'all. Honestly, I don't know. I need to check what I have going on. We're gonna do an episode. We've committed to it. I promise. We're gonna do something like that. We'll let you know when it happens. But for people that are watching that want to know, like, what's all the information, the website, who do they need to reach out to, or does somebody reach out to them? Like, is there any way they can inquire?
Yeah. So I think if people just Google the project Native Bound Unbound, you'll see their website come up. You'll see their Facebook come up. They're very active. They're always looking for volunteers for people who can transcribe documents and help transcribe documents, people who speak Spanish or who can read Spanish. So they're always looking for volunteers, but they actually help people. Like if you reach out to them, they'll help you go through your family tree and potentially identify the gaps there. And some of those gaps are people, ancestors who were enslaved. Very common. This happened, this was very pervasive in that region.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that was very eye-opening, very enlightening, Jeremy.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
story was very great. If you guys want to check out the full thing, you can check out 9news.com or 9 News Plus. It is worth the time, and it's worth the watch. So thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
A popular Mexican influencer known for her makeup and skincare content is under fire. On her podcast, Florencia Guillot interviewed a married couple who revealed that they began the romantic relationship when she was 14 and he 25. During the interview, which was titled Age Doesn't Matter, Guillot congratulated the couple's, quote, striking love story and praised them for staying together for 17 years. She also called the relationship a successful case. The interview sparked instant outrage among her followers, many of whom accused her of glorifying and romanticizing grooming and pedophilia.
Oh, girl.
I know.
Never. I mean,
It's wrong on so many levels.
that's like, she's an influencer. She has millions of people, millions of eyes
She has
on
over
her.
5 million followers.
And what was her excuse? It was that she was trying to remain
She was trying
objective?
she was trying to be objective, but the whole point was like she was trying to highlight how age doesn't matter, like age gaps don't matter. They don't if you're of age.
Yeah, I was gonna say, where is it? Can I get age matters. I promise it does. And like in this case, you're 14. If I'm 25, I'm well past college age,
Yeah.
and I'm skulking about middle schools.
I mean, just when we're hearing it, and it just gets more disturbing as you're watching the whole piece, but he kept saying like something along the lines, which is a big red flag for parents. She was very mature for her age. He's 25.
That is the creepiest, most predatory thing.
Yeah, you're graduated. You have a job at this point. You're in a whole different stage of life, and of course you say things like that. And the whole time she kept saying like her mom was against it, and how she basically her relationship with her mom is gone because according to her, she kept like getting in the middle of it. Well, that's her job to protect this child.
Absolutely. Everything. I'm not even going to go in on her because, like, I mean, apparently she had known him since she was 11. So, like, I mean, groomed from the start. So she's a victim in all of this for sure. But him, like, oh yeah, bring out the daggers, bring out the pitchforks, the torches, all of them. Because, like, yes, he should be shamed. And, like, the fact, like, I would be ashamed and I wouldn't be going on public platforms. Speaking of platforms, like, it's so important what you choose to put on your platform because so many young girls are probably watching, so many young boys are probably watching, and they're like, see, she did it, and like, I just need the right guy and like it'll be fine. No, it's not okay.
Yeah.
And I really hate that she's experienced that, even though if she doesn't realize that's not cool.
I don't think she realizes it. Like even her, when they were having this interview, because both of them were sitting together with this host. I mean, she kept talking and he would just jump in and jump in. You could just tell like he ran the show. And I don't know why he was a part of it. She, the person that they were interviewing, the gal that was married, is also an influencer. She's known as the Urban Beauty, I believe is how she's known online, but even she, like, I don't think she was aware of what happened to her. Like, her childhood was basically stolen in a sense.
Oh, for sure. But just to close this out, I'm curious. Like, as a journalist, you want to tell stories, but is this a story that's worth being told?
No, I don't think she should have aired that. And she did come out and apologize, Jamal. She did. But I think still, like, is it worth all those clicks for you to do that, to put that out there?
Absolutely not. Just be a little more selective and really think about the impact that you're having because I don't know how you sit there and hear, yeah, I was 11 when we met. Like,
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, just please do better. And like for the people consuming that content, be a little smarter. Just because she did it and just because it ended up happily ever after for them does not mean that it will end up happily ever after for you. So just be very wary and cognizant of who you watch.
And parents, check on your kids to see who they're following and what they're watching because this is scary stuff for them too, to copycat or follow.
Okay, Laura, I need something to lift my spirits.
All right, let's get into our good news. A group of Denver professors are looking to inspire the next generation of Black teachers. The Call Me Mr. Mentorship program is now offered through MSU Denver. The program helps recruit, train, and place Black male teachers in schools across Colorado to address the critical need of greater diversity in classrooms.
And migrants who are eligible for work permits in this country often can't get them. The application is complicated and the fee is just too expensive. So the Rose Community Fund is working to ease the obstacles to apply. So the group plans to cover the cost for roughly 5,500 people in Denver who are eligible. And I love that because, like I continue to say, I can't even imagine being in their situation. It's an impossible situation because they're like, okay, I need you to work, but you're gonna have to wait forever for your permit. You're gonna have to come up with like $500, fill out this difficult application, and then like maybe you'll get a job. Like, so it's so nice that they're gonna have people there to walk them through it and help them.
I love it. I love seeing the community, whether it's nonprofits or just families coming in together and helping in any shape, way, or form. I know that can't be cheap, Jamal.
No.
I know that's, when I think about the application, close to $500, right?
Yeah.
I mean, think of that when you're here with nothing.
Where do I get the money if I cannot work? And it's like a lot of them are getting like help under the table or they're doing like, odd jobs here and there to get it. But I'm like, everyone isn't capable of doing that. Like some people have families, like they have to watch kids, they have to be around, so they can't go out and do that. So yeah, it's really awesome to see them, helping out a little bit, making it a little bit easier. There's a lot more we can do to help.
I love that, for sure.
But,
We'll keep following these stories.
we'll continue to keep following the stories and let you guys know, all the good that's going on in the community. Thank you so much for joining this week's Culture Report. We'll be back to continue the conversation next Thursday right here on 9 News Plus and 9news.com.